Well, British gas owner Centrica reports soaring underlying annual profits of £2.8 billion. That's up from £392 million in 2021. I don't even know what £2.8 billion looks like written down, frankly. But despite thousands of households struggling with gas and electric bills, Centrica's boss, Chris O'Shea, is so far refusing to reveal whether he will waive his bonus. Joining us now is our economics and business editor, it's Liam Halligan with On the Money. I'm quite angry, Liam. Should I be?
It's important to distinguish, Patrick, between Centrica, which is the parent company, and British Gas, which is the customer-facing company that actually sells you the gas that you use to cook your baked beans and to heat your home. You're right in the sense that politically this is really heating up since these figures were released this morning. Let's just have a closer look at these figures. So Centrica, that's the parent company. Their operating profits in 2021, we can see on this graphic, were 948 million, and that went to 3,300 million, or 3.3 billion. A billion is 1,000 million in 2022, just so you know. And then the underlying profits, that strips out the profit that Centrica made from selling some of their businesses, Spirit Energy. They're slightly lower, but still massive. 392 million in 2021. 2,800 million or 2.8 billion in 2022. Why are they making so much money in 2022? Because Centrica actually drills stuff out of the ground. It's an upstream company. It drills oil and gas out of the ground, and of course wholesale prices for oil and gas have been going to the moon. But British Gas, the retail division, have a look at these numbers here in the final graphic. They made £118 million in 2021. And then they made £72 million in 2022. They made less money in 2022 than in 2021. Why? Because the companies that face you and do the direct debit thing every month, it's getting increasingly painful, I know, they're paying more for their wholesale gas, right? So they make less money. Also, we're using less gas. So if you think that British Gas made 72 million quid in 2022 and they've got 7.5 million households that are their customers, they made about a tenner per household. So you're right to be angry that Centrica is making so much money, and there are windfall taxes on these companies that drill in the North Sea. I mean, they pay 60, 70% tax on their profits under some definitions. And I do think there'll be more to come in the March budget, 15th of March, that will be in Jeremy Hunt's spring budget. But I don't think British Gas itself, for all the things it's done, and obviously there was a very interesting sting by the Times where a company contracted by British Gas was installing prepayment meters against customers' wills. Despite all that, I don't think British Gas itself can be accused of profiteering.
I mean, you just explained that really well there, basically, and in a way...
But you gave me a couple of minutes to do it. You need time to explain these things.
Yeah, exactly. But the optics of it, as you all know, in business and in life, frankly, it's also not just what's happening, it's how it looks.
Exactly.
And we've got people at the minute out there who'll be watching this, who've maybe had their door, for want of a better phrase, kicked down by someone, a more expensive meter put in. They were already skint. Now they're double skint as a result of that. And they'll be reading things like this. There's some guy there, I mean, goodness gracious, I mean, God only knows what his bonus is. And this just looks like a racket.
It does look like a racket, and, you know, it's not unusual for prepayment meters to be fitted where customers are judged to have a bad credit record. It's the fact that this is being done now when everybody is struggling to pay their bills, and, of course, at the wholesale end of the market, the upstream, you know, the oil and gas exploration end, the extraction end, people are making a huge amount of cash. So this is politically explosive. That's why the government put an extra windfall tax in place at the time of the last budget in March 2022, just after that invasion by in Ukraine by Vladimir Putin. That's when oil and gas prices started to spike upwards. So an oil company working in the North Sea, right? Most companies pay 19% corporation tax. Oil companies pay 30% corporation tax. Then they pay an extra 10% supplementary tax. And then as of last month, they pay an extra 35%, up from 25%, which is a supplementary tax. So it's up at about 70 or 75%. I mean, you get to the point where if you're taxing oil and gas exploration in the North Sea more than that, It's not going to happen.
Well, it's not, is it, really? And there has to be some incentive for them there. But I just feel sorry for the little guy, to be honest with you, and the person...
I completely agree. I completely agree.
Who's really
and people on prepayment meters, you know, there's 13 million prepayment meters in Britain, right? This is not a small group of people. It's a lot of people, and they generally pay a lot more per unit for their electricity than those of us who have bank accounts and are on debt. I was almost going to say that we are lucky enough to be on direct debit, though we don't feel very lucky at the moment.
Doesn't feel lucky at the minute, no, Liam. Thank you very much. Liam Halligan, our economics and business editor. Now, Centrica's chief executive released this statement on the preliminary results. He says, we've invested £75 million in supporting our energy customers in 2022, which was greater than the £8 post-tax profit per customer earned by British Gas Energy. Whilst customers may see some relief given recent easing of prices, it remains clear that some will continue to need help, and we will do what we can to support them in the year ahead.